now my mind is blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. Oh, now my mind is blown. No surprise, guess I should have known. You got control of me, break my barricades. Walls are crumbling, grounds they shake. You came to save, but it's way too late. Every single time you stay, I cave.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Neurodivergent News, where we are redefining what it means to be different. Different is not bad, it is just not like you. I am your host, Deanna Brakefield. I'm a mother of 7, 6 of which are neurodivergent. You know, that can be a little bit of an adventure, along with my husband, who is also autistic. Today, I have with me an absolutely amazing young man. He is a shining role model of what those of us who don't quite feel like we fit in should strive for and be trying to achieve. He is raising his voice to bring awareness to the stigmas that are still out there today. His name is Kadin. Welcome. I am so pleased to have you on the show.
I'm pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us just a little bit about yourself. Give us a little backstory.
W- Well, you pretty much summarized a lot of it. Um, I advocate for better awareness of autism since I feel it's a cause still stigmatized, still not given enough attention as it should be. There are some bills out there, but we still got a long way to go. I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old in 2006. I'm 20 years old now, and starting with the very doctor that diagnosed me, my capabilities were questioned due to autism, due to those social stigmas. To be fair, this was back in 2006. Times were different back then, of course.
Hmm.
But thanks to a supportive set of parents, I was able to push myself, prove the naysayers wrong, and still be able to do all the stuff I'm doing now. I graduated high school early in 2022 during COVID online while working two jobs. I'm a junior in college now with 4 consecutive dean's lists going on a fifth soon. And I've appeared on over 100 different media platforms advocating for this cause. And I've talked with various politicians about it, and I'm planning a fundraiser next month where all proceeds will benefit one of my favorite organizations in my county, Lake County, the Lake County Special Needs Birthday Club.
Okay. How are you associated with the birthday club?
Oh, oh, you heard of him? Oh, what? Oh, he befriended the president of the birthday club, Mike Zurin, who's also the treasurer of Lake County during one of my first public speaking appearances in 2022. I was working on a class project back then where the assignment was to think of a way to help the community and act upon it. My group and I set up a GoFundMe for the Autism Society of America and raised over $1,000 for it and won a contest with it. And that was where I went to promote the fundraiser, the GoFundMe, I should say, that meeting. And from there, me and him clicked. We've partnered on several fundraisers for the birthday club and events, including a Christmas drive for those with special needs last year.
That's absolutely amazing. So I did warn you a little bit that I like to make things a little bit personal from time to time. Do you mind going back a little bit and sharing with us what it was like to grow up autistic?
Absolutely. Elementary school was fine because kids didn't see differences back then. They just cared about making friends. But
Right.
middle school and high school, which is typical for a lot of people, but adds neurodivergency to the mix, it can make things 10 times harder. That was a nightmare of bullying and stigmatization. To be fair, these kids were young. They didn't know any better, or they just wanted to fit in for the football jocks or the cheerleaders, most likely, and look cool in front of their group of friends, or most likely their parents brainwashed them with ideologies that are quite frankly negative. It's my firm belief that everything starts in the home. If the parents are into people like Andrew Tate and Ryan Garcia or P. Diddy, who's the most recent controversial figure,
Hmm.
and embrace those ideologies, most likely the child's going to embrace those ideologies too and bring it into the school. Well, it's a scary thing to see, and it honestly crushed my spirit a lot in high school. But when I got into college, I learned more about being neurodivergent, having autism. I learned that there wasn't any need to give those people the time of day because being neurodivergent is honestly awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like a superpower sometimes. We see things in a different way, and so we see things that they don't that the typical doesn't see.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I completely agree with everything you were saying. It's the fairly standard experience for a lot of us. Elementary school is okay, but by the time we get ready to graduate high school, we are ready to get out of there. Was it your experience that the few friends that you were able to make, they seemed to very easily drift away, not necessarily on purpose, but easily?
Y- I would say very much so. I was on the cross country team, and they messed with me. They loved me, but one thing they did that made me suspicious of them was spread a rumor that I was faking my autism for attention. Because in my freshman year, I ended up getting on the front page of the sports section for some early advocacy work I did for a class project in a special education class that I got them involved with. The project there was donating shoe boxes to help pack up little goodie bags for struggling kids around the world. And I believed in that cause. So I got as many people within the school, well, including the cross country team, involved in that. And I actually, believe it or not, got over 100 shoe boxes on my own. And so looking back at it, I'm unfazed by it now. Those cross country people, whoever spread that rumor, was probably jealous that I was getting all this attention and all this love from our cross country coach, so they felt the need to spread that rumor.
Yeah, that was also my experience. I'm not autistic. I have extreme ADHD, but it was my experience that when teachers liked me for the qualities that teachers look in, such as attentiveness and wanting to cooperate or not cooperate, participate in their activities, that it seemed like the other kids took offense. It was like it was a negative mark on me, and I never understood that.
Yeah, I never understood that either.
So tell me, college changed everything for you. I mean, it opened up an entirely new world for you. What was freshman year like?
Um, well, the transition into college was a bit tough. So with autism, we like our routine, so when something throws it off, we tend to get emotional. But after the first week, I learned to love it. Honestly, especially the people, because when you're in college, you grow up, you
Mhm.
don't see differences. You just care about getting the degree and being a good person.
Did you have the or did you get the chance to live in the dorms or did you stay home?
For the first 2 years, I lived in the dorms, but for my last 2 years, so my parents let me stay here and do online school. I didn't necessarily choose that to save money, though. I chose it because of the political protests this year on college campuses. Because I another thing about people with autism is we're a stickler for the rules a lot.
Very
You
much.
probably see it with your husband. I'm the same way about rules. I think they should be followed, and I think people should focus on their academics, especially if they're paying hundreds upon thousands of dollars. And I found it even more absurd that people thought breaking the law to get your point across about a cause you like is okay. which we saw a lot of during protests on those campuses. And I thought, I'm not paying over $30,000 to watch the destruction of a college campus in the name of a cause people like. Don't get me wrong, I admire what they believe in. I admire what they're trying to do, but I think there's a better way to advocacy than vigilantism and civil disobedience. Going on these platforms like this is a better approach to advocacy than that. At planning a fundraiser, talking to your local politicians about your cause.
So
Those are
I'm sorry. I take it from what you were just saying that the protests were particularly bad where you're at.
not in Ken. There were protests, and there was a little bit of vandalism during a sensitive day in the school calendar, the May 4th celebration, to be exact. And I told them, look, I admire what you're doing, but you know this is a sensitive day, right? Like, did you get permission from the people in charge of this to do the protest? And they were like, yes, we did. And blah, blah, blah. And then I kept seeing it on Instagram through and graduations made about politics. And when I made a comment saying, hey, not everything has to be political, I admire it, but duh. I had to delete it immediately because people were saying, you don't speak for me. What are you doing? We're just advocating for such and such free speech. Da, da, da. And that was another contributing factor to me choosing to be online. The TikTok generation, as I like to call my generation, being quick to attack, quick to judge, when I'm just saying not everything has to be political. Not everything has to be vigilantism and activism, especially during special moments or sensitive days.
Right. So, what do you think would be a better I mean, a lot of this is lack of communication from my perspective. What do you think, aside from doing things like a fundraiser or talking to your politicians, is there another way that maybe college students could express themselves on campus?
Like I said, appearing on media platforms to advocate for your cause in a peaceful and respectful manner, like what I usually do. I have over 100 under my belt, and I think that's a better approach to advocacy because you get your message out there to a widespread audience without it being illegal activity. Or if it's a campus issue, like you have an issue with a teacher or something like that, the teacher says something or does something you don't like, talk to your dean, talk to whoever's in charge of the school about the issue and see what they can do to change. And the two things you shouldn't do is commit vigilantism or protest crimes and go on social media and attempt to ruin people's reputation because you take something out of context. Like you said, it's lack of communication.
Do you find that the administration in at your university is particularly receptive to the students?
Mm, I would say so. He was very close with the administration on campus. One person in particular, to be exact. I know one time during my tenure on campus, I noticed a couple hate posters and told them about it, and they said, "Well, that's negative. That's not the right thing to say, but we can't really do anything about it because it's free speech. It's a state school,
Mhm.
of course." So I think they're somewhat receptive. They take accountability, but unfortunately, with state schools and state colleges, they can't do much about free speech or human rights, constitution rights. Otherwise, their funding gets cut off.
So you're saying it sounds like you're saying it's more of a problem that their hands are tied and they can't act, not that they don't want to act.
Exactly. I think both sides have a problem.
So you are getting close to graduation at this point. You said you're a junior. Are you
Yes,
excited?
ma'am. I'm very excited.
What are your plans for after graduation?
Well, I'm a communications major currently, and I'm hoping to work for a nonprofit centered around autism or the like, so things go full circle in a way. E- But my parents warned me that eventually AI will replace a lot of the communications jobs, so I wouldn't be surprised if within 5 years I'm either in IT ch- or dabbling in politics, possibly possibly running for political office in some form within my county at least. So, well, there's more neurodivergent minds in political power.
I don't think that would be a bad idea. And you are right about the AI stuff. I work in marketing, and in the last year, probably 40% of marketing jobs have already been replaced, and they're coming for communications and major media next.
Uh, oh, I honestly find it absurd. Nothing's better than a human, in my opinion, because there's just a lot of personality to a human, which is key to writing, in my opinion. Yeah, and I've been writing for 5 years since I was 15, and some of the AI works I read are very disrespectful and have no respect for the value of personality, in my opinion.
I don't think you're not wrong. AI can't exactly mimic us very well yet. Do you mind if I ask your opinion on this? It's a tool that we've been talking about a lot recently. Tools like Character AI. Have you heard of that one?
Mm, I've used a couple AI apps for autism, and I think those are the only good uses for AI in that sense, because people with autism get that social interaction, don't feel alone, get advice on interview skills and that kind of thing, but it's not overly abusive and corrupting.
So, in your experience, you haven't ran across very many people that have become over dependent on it?
Mm, no, well, not that I've seen.
Okay. So, tell me a little bit about autism rocks and rolls because we talked about that very briefly in our pre-interview, and I'd love to hear more.
Oh, it was another show I was on with this this host named Sam Metz. He's in Indiana, was diagnosed with autism at 4 years old, and went on to become a public speaker and co-founder of that organization where the podcast is commonly hosted. He's interviewed several different wrestlers, and similar to what I'm doing, kind of, he goes on podcasts regularly as well.
So you have really it sounds like you've spent the last 5 to 10 years since you were a young teenager just building connections, building contacts.
Very much so, ma'am.
So you consider yourself a social person.
E- well, more through the computer, if that makes sense, not necessarily in person. I've been working on that particularly, though, because I'll need in person social interactions when I'm in the workplace.
Mhm. So would you say that digital communication as we have it now, because you're a baby compared to me, like you're young enough to be my son and I love it. You grew up in a very different world than I did. From the early millennium on, you've just had the technology available to explore your world in a way that wouldn't have been available to you 20 years before. Has it been a blessing or has it limited you slightly?
It's honestly been a lesson for me, and especially in the sense of the podcast appearances and public speaking opportunities.
Hmm. Keep going.
Okay, okay. Hey, I think it's gr- great that you don't necessarily need to go on a stage anymore to talk to people.
Yeah. I know that I personally would not be able to get up on a stage or in front of a big like television camera and do what we're doing right now. That would not be okay.
Yeah, I'd be able to, but to me, the computer and technology is more convenient, and especially since I don't have a car or proper driver permit yet.
So I have avoided asking up until now, but it sounds like you're saying that you have some mobility issues.
Uh, mm, no, I don't have mobility. I'm capable of driving a car. I just am nervous about it.
Because you can't anticipate what other people are gonna do.
Yeah.
My 18-year-old is very much that way. We were lucky that he got his driving permit this year because we've been trying for 3 years to get him to get it. So one day maybe he'll be able to drive, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get mine by Halloween, Christmas at the latest.
I'll be rooting for you. That's actually a really good goal. I'm proud for you that you actually see the importance in that level of independence. A lot of neurotypicals don't. So, I warned you that I was going to ask you this when we spoke before. A lot of indie people, we tend to develop some unusual hobbies and skills. What would you say is your most unusual hobby or skill that you have picked up?
Hmm, well, I do lot of hobbies, but if I had to pick one that's my favorite, it would be music, both listening and playing music.
You play.
Yeah, I play guitar. I haven't had the time to play like I used to because of school, but I've been trying to pick that back up.
I completely understand. If I hadn't have been in the music department when I was in college, I probably would have completely fallen away from it too. It's very stressful trying to keep up with just a normal class load. Are you trying to graduate early like you did with high school?
I'm hoping to, but my goal right now is 2026.
Okay, so you will be more than satisfied if you just keep the normal track.
Yeah, as much as I want to, the problem is with some classes, they lock the course content so you can't work ahead until it's open.
Re They didn't do that back in my day. I mean, there were some classes like the 400s that you had to wait until you were a junior or older, but I didn't realize they had gotten more restrictive.
Yeah, I still don't get it because everyone has different learning styles, but from what I heard from a teacher, see, he said that they do that so students can learn self-pacing.
Self-pacing. Now that is the problem that I have. That is a problem I definitely have because I will either get extremely hyper focused on something and knock out 10 chapters in a night, or I am so disinterested in what they're requiring me to learn that it's a struggle to get me to even look at the summary questions.
I'm the same way too.
So, what is a class that you've absolutely hated?
I would say I like all my classes. I'm a good student and I'm invested in my education, but if I have to pick one that's always been hard for me, not just now, it would be math, definitely.
Wait a minute, sir. I'm about to sound a little sarcastic here. I am being sarcastic. You're not like an astronomical math genius? That's not an every autistic automatically gets to be a math genius?
No, no. Well, I have the capability to get a B. Though I have a B in the current math class I'm taking, but that's my one and only kryptonite. All the other subjects are fine.
I have to imagine you do really, really well in English as much writing as you do.
Yes, I do.
Now, see, that breaks a norm right there just because you're a guy. As I understand it, women tend to be better at writing, even though men write a lot more than we do.
I
Sorry,
didn't know that.
you've never heard that before?
No, I haven't.
When I was in school, they used to tell us that boys were good at math and science, and girls were good at history and English because we were good at remembering how to do what we were told to do and remembering facts, whereas y'all were the creative ones.
Wow.
I know, never made any sense to me. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say today or any events that you would like to promote?
Well, the one thing I want to promote coming next month is the fundraiser I'm doing with Soldier Girl Coffee.
Right.
All proceeds benefit the Lake County Special Needs Birthday Club. Will start November the 1st.
And so they're raising funds for the 2025 year, correct?
Correct.
So if someone wanted to donate to the fund, how would they do that?
They they would just buy a thing of Soldier Girl Coffee. That's the name of the company,
Mm,
and a portion of those proceeds go towards the birthday club.
amazing. Any last thoughts for our audience today?
I would say keep doing what you do. You're amazing, and if people can't see that, don't give them the time of day, because they're the ones who are going to miss out on an amazing person.
And sir, you are an amazing person. You are an inspiration to all of the kids out there that have been told that because they're different, they can't do it. Bravo. I legitimately give you a hand clap. Thank you so much for being you and being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this has been another episode of Neurodivergent News. We have had with us the amazing Caden. Hopefully, he will get to come back and talk with us at some point in the future, and we can get updates on how amazing his life is going. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to him, his contact information will be in the bio section of this episode's blog. All of you have a glorious and wonderful day, and we will see you next time.
You got